As you all might have heard already, Amber Guyger was found guilty of first-degree murder. Now, I had a feeling that she was going to be charged with murder. I would have been surprised if she had not been charged with murder. Why? Simply because of the fact that she basically condemned herself. When they had her on the stand and they were questioning her and they asked her, did she have motive and intent to shoot and kill him? She said yes, which I was quite surprised, being that she's a police officer or was a police officer, because usually cops would say that they weren't trying to kill the person, they were only trying to stop the person. That's how a lot of cops walk, because of the language that they use. The person was a threat, and I tried to stop the threat. Was it your motive and intention to kill that person? No. I only wanted to stop the threat. I did what I had to do to protect myself. So I'm surprised that her lawyer did not brief her. And even being a cop, I'm surprised that she went in and confessed to murder. Now, when they talked about bringing in the castle doctrine, I'm thinking like, okay, now they're trying to find a way out, and worse comes to worse, she might end up being charged with manslaughter. Okay, because if they manipulated the castle doctrine, which I really don't see how they could have done that, they had the thought in mind, she thought that it was her house. So under the castle doctrine, because she thought it was her house, she did what she needed to do to protect herself, right? But it wasn't her house. That was not her castle. So even if she thought it was her castle, it was not her castle. And being a law enforcement and being a person that's carrying concealing, you have to be alert. You have to be aware of your surroundings, of your situations. Okay? So, worst come to worst, I thought she might have gotten manslaughter. Okay? Because she, according to her motive and intent was because of the fact that she thought he was in her house. She's a white girl. She's attractive. And she's a cop. But the craziest thing about this is what really surprised me, that there's so many black people that seem to be upset at the fact that she was convicted of murder. That was strange to me. Why were so many black people upset and disappointed that she was convicted of murder? And there was a video I watched, and this black female cop was straightening her hair, running her fingers through her hair, straightening up. And I'm like, and it was on Tariq Nasheed's page. Tariq Nasheed has that video. And I'm like, why is she stroking her hair? And this looked like it was one of the jail guards was stroking her hair. And I'm like, why is she fixing her hair? So that was quite strange to me, but it's just quite weird that so many black people felt sorry for her, and so many black people was disappointed that she was charged with first-degree murder. and she did not walk. Now, I thought that was a poor performance when she was crying and she was trying to convince the jury and the family that she's really sorry. But looking at this image right here, what don't you see? Of course, she's making an ugly face. She's making a cry face. But one thing that's missing are the tears. There's no tears. There's no tears in that photo. I did not see any tears. When I was actually watching the trial, I didn't see no tears. She had the face, and she was trying to position herself or acting like she was trying to be sorrowful, but it just wasn't there. I wasn't convinced. So when they asked her the question, did she have intentions on killing him? She said yes. I'm like, that's it. First degree murder. Unless, of course, the system was manipulated. Another thing that stood out to me too was the fact that the judge was black and most of the jury was black. But if it was an all-white juror, those are not really her peers. They could say that they're a part of her peers, but who would be considered her peers? So they had black, Latino, and whites. But Brandon Tatum seemed to be upset at the fact, and you know Brandon's going to protect law enforcement officers because he's a former cop. So he's going to always go for cops, because there were situations where cops end up shooting someone unarmed. And when the cop was able to walk, when the juror found him not guilty or he was exonerated, then Brandon Tatum was saying, it's the law. Why? They went through the process. You know, they went through the legal channel. It was fair, you know, and that's what they came up with. He was tried and convicted. That's the law. So now that the law kicked in and he was tried and convicted, Brandon Tatum is now saying that he believes something is not right with that. It's racially motivated. This is Brandon Tatum. He's saying it's racially motivated now. That a cop, a white female, she's a white female, she's attractive, and she's a cop. And she was charged with first degree murder. Now, I'm just waiting to see what her charges are. Because from what little I understand about New York, and I know that's Texas, but in New York, manslaughter, it carries the same weight as murder in a way, but manslaughter is 25 years to life, or maybe a little less, but you can get up to 25 years to life with manslaughter. First degree murder is different in its own way. So it's interesting to find out what her charge would be, you know, in Texas for first degree murder. That's going to be quite interesting, man, because if they give her like 5 or 6 years or 10 years, that's not right, you know? And that might be where she might end up benefiting for less time, or giving her parole after so many years. Okay, so I'm hoping it don't go down that way, because at the end of the day, regardless of the fact that she felt she was walking in her own apartment, she was tired, but she wasn't tired enough to be sexting to a married guy, you know. So she was messing around. So that says a lot about her character, that she was seeing a married man and she was sex texting him. So her mind was not really paying attention to what she was doing or where she's going. She was so into those text messages that she wasn't even noticing the fact that she was walking in the same apartment or walking in the wrong apartment, right? So she wasn't even aware that she was walking in the wrong apartment. She just missed that red rug in front of his apartment door. right? And she just thought it was his, and she went in there with her, get your hand. And that's another thing too. If you watch that trial, man, and when after she finished crying, giving those crocodile tears, the attorney asked her to show what she did, and she immediately went into character. Let me see your hands. Those tears disappeared. Or better yet, there was no tears, but that crying face disappeared. Let me see your hands. And she was holding up, let me see your hands. And then she shot him. But they asked her, did you mean to kill him? She said yes. But I think if she had said no, and then she says, I was only trying to stop him, that would have made a big difference. So it had nothing to do with race, although I did wonder if it was a mostly white juror and a white judge, she might have gotten manslaughter. She might have gotten something less, or she might have even been exonerated and she was able to walk. If it was a white judge and if it was a mostly white juror, because they see different than we do. See, they view the world different than we view the world. Yes, we're humans. We're living in the same environment, the same climate, but our experiences are different. Our histories are different. So I may see something as racist, and a white person may not see it. I don't see it. I just think everybody bleeds red and we're all the same on the inside. We all have the same feelings, but in reality, we don't. We see the world totally different because of our history and because of our life experience. So I'm glad that she was convicted, first-degree murder. It's just going to be interesting to see what her charges are, see how much time she get. All right. But like I said, I mean, those crocodile tears, she made the face, and she was looking kind of sexy there, but she made the face, and her body was stiff, and her face was tight, and I didn't see no tears, And then immediately she went into character when they asked her to show what she did when she walked in his apartment, right? And another thing, and I'm gonna end this, excuse me. They also tried to use the fact that he was smoking, the house smelled like weed, right? That's got nothing to do with it. Dude was sitting there chilling in his own apartment, in the privacy of his own home. And for those of you people out there that said that they understand her and they see how she made a mistake. Okay, well, what if that was one of your loved ones, one of your children, one of your sons or your daughters that was sitting in the house, and some stranger opened the door thinking it was their apartment and then shoots your child? Would you sympathize with that person and say, oh, I understand, these apartments are kind of confusing, when you come in, and I understand she parked on the wrong side and she thought this was her apartment, so I forgive her. Would you take that same stand as those church people did when Dylan Roof went up in that church and shot it up and killed all them people? And then they had a nurse say, we forgive him, and he didn't even ask for forgiveness, right? So so before y'all start talking about you understand Amber Guyger and you start taking sides with her, and they had a black, was he a sheriff or something, another law enforcement, and he was saying he understood. He was speaking in defense of her. And especially a lot of dudes, man, they look at a white chick, man, that look like her, and she got a cute little body. I keep saying that, but she had a cute little body, but they look at her and they be thinking, oh, and that's how a lot of females get away with murder in life. Literally, they get away with murder because of how they look. You see how she dressed with going up in there? And then she put on those little fake tears. She was looking for sympathy. And I don't blame her, because she was looking at her life. Her life was actually flashing before her eyes. She was about to get some time, right? So if she can play the role and able to walk, hey, I'd be up there trying to cry too. Trying to make people feel, think that I'm sorry for what I did. But she went out and partied after that happened, man. She was celebrating. There's a video out there. So I'm glad that justice was served finally. But I'm also surprised too that so many black people appear to be disappointed. They really seem to be disappointed that this chick was found guilty of first-degree murder. See, this is history. History was made in Texas, right? So black people cannot say that this was unfair. You can't say it's unfair. Brandon Tatum, you can't say that this was racially motivated, because you, being a law enforcement officer, know that if you go up in there saying that you had motive and intent to kill, that's murder, right? Instead of trying to stop that person, because if you're trying to stop that person happens to live, right? It makes it look like you didn't really try to kill the person. You just wanted to stop them, you know. And I know cops, they shoot for body mass, you know. So, but for you to like just, oh, what happened here? What happened here? I hate when that happened. Cover her up. See, that was right there. That was like a Freudian slip, man, because then that just showed her face covered, meaning she's gonna be locked away for a while. So that was supernatural right there that occurred, right? So that was my thingamajig, right? But anyway, you guys feedback, tell me what you think, subscribe, click on the Cash App button and donate to the channel. But she got what she deserved, man. But Brandon Tate, man, you can't say that this was racially motivated, man, because it wasn't. She told on herself, man. She convicted herself when she said that, yes, she had the motive and intent to shoot and kill instead of trying to stop him. See? And if she walked, man, and maybe black people are upset because now they don't have a reason to get upset. They can't now say that it was racially motivated, except for Brandon Tatum, right? But he's looking out for the white people. He's looking out for the little cute white girl, right? But you know, maybe black people are upset because of the fact that they have nothing to cry and complain about, you know, to charge white people for. Maybe that's the reason why so many black people are upset. But I just thought that was quite strange and weird, man. So feedback, tell me what you think. Till next time. I'm fearless.